fight 'em all. I'm gonna fight 'em all. A 7 nation army couldn't hold me back. They're gonna rip it off, taking that time right behind my back. And I'm talking to myself at night because I can't forget. I can fall through my mind behind a cigarette. And the message coming from my eyes. Come on. And the message coming from my eyes. And the message coming from my eyes. I'm gonna fight 'em all. A 7 nation army couldn't hold me back. And I'm talking to myself at night because I can't forget. I can fall through my mind behind a cigarette. And the message coming from my eyes. And the message coming from my eyes.
Hola, ¿cómo están
Hello,
todos? Qué gran
hello,
gusto
everyone.
saludarlos.
How are you?
Bienvenidos
It is my pleasure to
a
say
esta
hello.
gran batalla
very,
de
very
preguntas
welcome
que
to
vamos a
this
tener con
great
el
battle
único,
of questions that we're going to be having
inigualable
with the
Randy
incomparable
Gage.
Randy
Y antes de
Gage.
comenzar, te quiero
And
contar
before
cómo
kicking off, I
empezó
want to tell you a
todo
little bit
esto.
how
Como
this
bien
everything
sabrás,
began.
Randy decidió
As
que
you
ya no
very
quería
well
estar
know,
en el
Randy
mundo de las
decided that
redes
he didn't want
sociales,
to be in
que
social
quería
media no more, that
separarse
he wanted to step
de todo
away
ese
from
ruido del que
all of
estamos
that noise that we
inundados, en el que
are
estamos inundados.
immersed.
Y estando yo
And,
trabajando con él,
you know, after
le
working with
comentaba que
him
me
for a
parecía
while,
injusto,
I
que había
told
mucho
him
más
that
que
it
le
was a little
quedaba
bit
por decir.
unfair, that it
Así es
was
que
that he needed to
propuso que
say
tengamos
something
una
else.
última
So we
sesión en la
proposed to
cual
have
todo
this
mundo pueda
very
hacerle
last
esas
session
preguntas
in which
que le
everyone
hubieran
could
quedado en el
ask him
tintero, todas
whatever
esas
he wanted to
preguntas
ask,
que
those
sintieran
pending
que
questions
aún
that
hacía
remain in the
falta
parking lot,
responder. Así es que
everyone that
volteamos con la
thought that
comunidad y le pedimos a
those
la
questions
comunidad
that
que nos
needed to be
mande esas
answered,
preguntas
and we asked the
porque no
community
hay
to
otro
send us
lugar
those
en
questions
donde
because there
escucharlo
is
más
no other
después
way
de
to
todos esos
listen to
bestsellers,
him
después de haber
right
educado a
after
más
those
millonarios que cualquier
bestsellers,
otra
after
persona en la industria.
educating more millionaires than
Ya no
anyone in
hay
the
más
industry.
donde verlo en
There
redes
is
sociales,
no more
más
to
que aquí.
see
Esta
him
es
in
nuestra
social
última
media
oportunidad para
except here.
preguntarle todo
This
lo que
is our
siempre
very last
quisimos
chance
saber.
to
Y
ask
para
him
ponerle un
everything that
poquito
we
de
wanted to
sabor,
ask. And just to put a
decidimos
little bit
hacer
of
una
sugar and
apuesta al
spice, we
respecto, en la
wanted to
cual,
bet
si
something
no se
here.
atreve a
So,
responder alguna de las
if
preguntas que
he
ustedes nos
is not
mandaron, va a tener que ponerse esta, la
brave enough
playera
to
de la
answer
hermosa
any
selección
question, he needs to wear
mexicana
this
durante el
t-shirt
evento de Cumbre
of
Palusa
the
que vamos a tener
amazing
y una
Cumbre
peluca, porque como
Palusa.
sabrán, algo que tenemos él y yo en común es el
He's going to be
peinado.
wearing Cumbre Palusa.
En
And
caso que
also
se
a wig,
atreva a
because, you know,
contestar
we
de
both
forma
wear the same
satisfactoria todas
hairdo.
las preguntas que
And
vamos a hacer,
he wants to
entonces yo
answer
tendré que ponerme
every question
la
that we
playera
want
de
to
la
ask. I'm
selección
going
de
to have
Estados
to
Unidos,
wear
que como
the
sabrán es el
United
gran rival
States
de México,
soccer
y
team
una
t-shirt. And as
peluca
you know,
durante
that's the
Cumbre
main
Palusa, no
rival
durante todo el evento,
of
pero en
Mexico.
algún
And
momento
also
voy a
to
tener que
wear a
salir
wig at
así al
Cumbre
evento
Palusa,
más
not in the
importante
whole
que
event,
tenemos
but
en
at
el
some
año.
point.
Esa es la
I'm going to
apuesta
have
que
to do
tenemos
it
de
in
por
the
medio,
event,
así
the
es que
most
muchas
important event that
gracias
we
a
have
todos por mandar sus
in
preguntas, la
the
verdad.
year. Thank
Hay
you,
algunas
everyone,
que yo no me hubiera
for
atrevido a
sending your
hacerle,
questions. There
pero
are
por lo
some
menos
that I
tengo el
wouldn't
pretexto
dare
de que
to
lo
ask,
mandaron
but
ustedes
at
y
least I
no
have,
yo. Ahora sí
you
que
know,
eres tú, no
this
soy
is,
yo solamente soy un
it was
mensajero,
you,
yo
and it's not me. I'm
solamente
just a
le
messenger.
voy a
Don't kill
pasar
the
las
messenger.
preguntas
I'm
que
just going to
ustedes
pass on the
quisieron
questions that you
hacerle. Y la
wanted to
verdad es
ask
que fue un
him.
éxito.
And as a matter of
Tuvimos
fact, it was very
cientos y
successful. We
cientos
had
y
hundreds
cientos
and
de
hundreds
preguntas.
and hundreds of
Pobrecito, mi
questions.
equipo estuvo más de
Poor
4
guys
horas
in my team. There were
viendo
more than
todas las
4
preguntas que
hours
nos
filtering
mandaron,
the
tratando de
questions and
encontrar
rating
cuáles
them,
eran las que más
trying to
podrían
find
funcionar. Así es que
those that
muchas
were
gracias a todos los que
the
mandaron sus
better,
preguntas.
the best
Esperamos haber
questions.
hecho
Thank you all
honor a todo
And
ello y haber
hopefully
elegido
we
las que
honor
más le
all of
sirvan
those
a
questions
toda la
and we
comunidad.
chose
Así es que con todo
those
eso en mente
that
vamos a
are
empezar de
more
lleno.
useful with the
Con
community. So
nosotros
without
tenemos
further ado,
al
let's start
único,
with
al
this. We have
inigualable
the incomparable Randy Gage right here with us.
algo que le
Randy,
quieras decir a
something
la
you want to
gente
tell our
antes
people
de que
today
acabe
before kicking
contigo
off,
con estas
before
10 preguntas.
we finish you with those 10 questions?
Y buenos días a todos. But for my gringo friends, we're not broadcasting this. I didn't announce it in English, but I do have 3 or 4 friends that I think would enjoy this. So I sent them a link, but I should have sent them a link to the Duplication Nation YouTube channel. So maybe if one of our people, Jaime, Jesus, or Andrea, or somebody could put the link in the chat, because everything that's on Jaime's YouTube channel is going to come, my voice will come through as Edmundo's interpretation. And if you want the English version, then go to the Duplication Nation MLM YouTube channel. But I'm excited. I'm excited about doing this. I saw a few of the questions that you guys were teasing people with. And I think this is going to be must-see TV.
Lo es, sin duda. Ya lo sabes, si estás acá, trae a tu
Without
equipo.
a doubt,
Tu
that's
equipo
it.
va
I
a
mean, if
querer
you're already
escuchar
here,
esta
you're going to
sesión,
bring
sin
your
duda
team
alguna.
here. Your team is going to
Además
be
de ser muy
wanting to
divertida,
hear this
va
session,
a tener
that in addition to
seguro
being very fun,
muchas
we're going to have a
lecciones
lot
para
of
todos
lessons to
nosotros. Así es
learn
que
for
vamos a
everyone here.
empezar.
So let's
Pregunta número
start.
1 de la
Question number
comunidad.
1 of the community.
Randy, ¿crees que el
Randy,
dinero
do you
te
think
aleja
that
de Dios?
money takes you away from God?
No. I think God takes you away from money. Now, before everybody leaves and tries to cancel me, let me amend that. What I really believe is, what I really think is that the way some people think of God, the limiting beliefs they have about God, cause them to repel money because they bought into programming, mind viruses, that money is bad and rich people are evil and it's somehow spiritual to be poor. But I believe that God, the universe, whatever label you prefer to use, I believe you were created to be healthy, happy, and prosperous. So the better question, the best question for anyone to ask themselves is, do I have any limiting beliefs about God that cause me to repel my prosperity?
Beautiful. Randy, cuéntanos el mayor
tell
error
us
de
a
tu
little bit
carrera,
about
el
the
que te
greatest mistake
avergüenza,
in
el
your
que
career,
no
the
te
one that
gusta
you feel the
contarle a
most
la
ashamed
gente.
of, the one that you
Ese
don't like to
queremos
tell
conocerlo.
people. We want to know that one.
Well, I think I would break this into 2 parts. Part 1, when I first began in the business, and then part 2, later, as I became successful. In the beginning, my biggest mistake I made was minimizing the products. I just talked about money and hype and rah-rah stuff. And what happened is in the very first company I worked, no, the second company I worked, my sponsor brought in Don Fela to do a training. And because I was one of his guys, he took me to lunch with Don and Nancy before the seminar. And Don told me, Randy, you got to understand, the products don't matter. You can just order the products and throw them in the river. If everybody buys $100 worth of products every month, we all make money. And I thought, well, this is the guru. He's the guy with the 10 napkin book. So that's how I built. And I just told all my people the products didn't matter. And then, of course, I was just struggling and scuffling and whatever. But then even later, 2 years later, 3 years later, when I started to get a little traction and have some actual people and have some volume, I found I could build it up quick, but it always dissipated because I had zero product culture. Nobody cared about the products. They were just there to make money. And that was a huge mistake. Cost me, I don't know how much money in success, in duplication it cost me, but it was a lot. I think later in the career, once I started making $20,000 a month and then $50,000 a month and then more, the biggest mistake I made was making myself the superhero, trying to be on the stage for everything, try to handle all the trainings, all the presentations. I wanted the stage time. I wanted the adulation. I wanted the standing ovations. And I was jealous when other people were on the stage. And that severely hampered my growth. And I still made a lot of money, but I worked 80 hours a week to make that money. I worked as a grinder to make that money. And the big breakthrough for me was, man, if I could be sitting in the front row and have one of my people on stage instead of me, oh my God, what a breakthrough that would be. So that, when I think about that's probably early and then later stage, those were the biggest mistakes I made.
Genial. Tenemos acá una pregunta que,
Amazing. Now,
que
we
creo
have a
que va a
question
ser
that I
de
guess it's
mucho
going to be
servicio para toda la comunidad.
it's going to be
Randy,
of a lot of service
en
to our
algún
community.
momento dijiste
Randy,
que
at
crees
some
que
point
está
you
loca
told us
la
that
gente que no está
you
haciendo
think that
presentaciones
people
en
that are
persona,
doing
cara a
one-on-one
cara, en
presentations
una
are
era
crazy.
en la cual
You
todo
know,
el
in a
mundo quiere
time where
alejarse
everyone
del cara a
wants to
cara y
step
quiere
away
hacer
of
presentaciones
one-on-one
online.
and
Así es que
personal
queremos que nos
presentations, and
cuentes
everyone
por
wants to do
qué
an online presentation. So we
dices
want
eso.
you to tell us why you think that.
Okay, so first, people who don't do in-person presentations, I don't think they're crazy. I think they're foolish. I think they're foolish unless they have too much money. If they have too much money and they just have boxes of cash and they don't know where to put it, then it's okay. You don't need to do in-person presentation. But if you don't have too much money, you're just foolish not to do in-person presentations. And by the way, I'm not just talking about one-on-one or two-on-one presentations. I'm talking about home meetings with 8 and 9 and 12 people in them. I'm talking about hotel meetings with 40 people and 60 people and 600 people and 1,500 people, and major events with thousands of people in a convention hall, in person, shaking hands, looking people in the eye, meeting people, making connections, developing relationships, building belief in a way that cannot convey itself across Zoom. And people can make all the arguments they want and say, oh, Gage, you're a baby boomer. You don't know, the times have changed and we've got all our iPhones now. And sorry, I can tell you I'm in the field. I know what's going on in the field, and I'm working with top leaders who are in the field. Jaime and I consult with top leaders. We have a thing called a Prodigy Council. We have some of the most successful people in the world in our council. I consult with companies. Jaime consults with companies. We are working with people, and we know that the people who are crushing it right now in November 2023 are the people who got back in the real world, and they took off their bunny slippers and they put on shoes and they went out in the real world where the real people are, because that live events are exploding. People doing events are crushing it. And there is this pent up demand for events, and the people who are doing them are having a great deal of success.
Bueno, ahí fueron las primeras
Well,
tres preguntas.
those
Y la
were the
verdad es
first
que
three
esto apenas
questions,
se
and
está
as a matter of
calentando. Le
fact,
vamos a preguntar
we're
a
just
Randy muy
hitting up
pronto
the engines. We're going to
cuánto
ask Randy
dinero
very
ha
soon how
aceptado
much
por
money
cambiarse de compañía,
he
qué
has
opina
taken
de
for
Eric
changing companies,
Worre,
what
qué
he thinks about
volvería a
Eric
hacer si
Worre,
perdiera todo el
what
dinero que tiene,
would
si tuviera que
he
volver a
do
empezar,
if he loses
cómo
all his
lo
money, he
haría.
needs to
Le
start
vamos a
all over
preguntar
again, how
acerca de
would
su
he
vida
do it?
personal. Le vamos
We're
a
going to ask him
preguntar
about his personal
públicamente
life.
que
We're
nos
going to
diga su
ask him
opinión
personally
acerca
about
de
his
las
opinion
empresas de
about
criptomonedas. Así es que
the
esto se va a poner cada
cryptocurrency
vez más
businesses. So we're going to
sabroso.
ask,
No dejes de compartirlo con tu
bring more
equipo, por
flavor to
favor.
this.
Avísale a
Don't
todo
stop
mundo,
sharing with your
mándale
team.
mensajitos.
Let everybody know. Send everybody messages.
Tus WhatsApps,
You know,
todos tus grupos de
send your
WhatsApps,
WhatsApp, send your
tendrías que
groups,
mandarles el
everything.
link de esto
You're going to
que
have to
está
send the
ocurriendo.
link
Bueno,
to everyone
vamos
of
a
what is
seguir
happening here.
adelante.
Now, moving on,
Randy, si eres tan bueno haciendo lo
if
que
you're
haces,
so good
¿por qué no has
doing what
creado
you
tu
do,
propia
why
empresa?
haven't you created your own company?
Because I'm not insane. Because I'm not a masoquista. No estoy masoquista. I love being a field leader. I don't love making payroll, going to the office, running employees out of their cubicles, handling logistics and tax matters and that kind of stuff. It's like, I was in the restaurant business for a long time. I started as a dishwasher and worked my way up, and I actually owned a restaurant, a couple of them, and with horrible results. And I now, even today, when I drive by an empty restaurant, I'll say, oh my God, that location is so good. With what I know now about marketing, with what I know now about social media, with the talents that I have, the skills I have, I could buy that place and open up a restaurant. And then I start slapping myself and say, no, you don't want to be that guy that the police call at 5 a.m. when the alarm goes off, or the waitress calls to say the cook didn't show up because he's drunk. I love the freedom of being in the field. And I love that's not my skill set. I would tell you, I believe I'm a really strong leader, and I think I'm a terrible manager. And to run a company, you got to be a great manager, right? You manage things and you lead people. And my skill set is leadership. It's not management. Wait, you're muted, Jaime. Or maybe it's just on my channel and Edmundo didn't catch up.
No, he was muted.
Es que me daba miedo que me escuchen diciendo esto.
I'm sorry, I didn't want you guys to hear me. No.
Aquí viene la primera de las preguntas.
This is the
que
first
yo no me hubiera atrevido a
question
hacerle,
that I wouldn't
pero
dare
no es
asking
mía,
myself,
es de ustedes,
but it's not mine. Don't kill the messenger. It's
Randy
yours.
Gage.
Now, Randy Gage.
La comunidad quiere saber
the community wants
si has
to know
aceptado
if
dinero
you have
para
accepted
cambiarte
money
de
for
empresa.
switching
Y en
companies.
caso que no,
And if you
queremos saber
haven't, we want to know
qué mala práctica
what
sí has hecho. Si esa no,
bad
¿cuál
practice
sí has
you've
hecho?
made. I mean, if not that, with bad practice you've done.
Yeah. All right. So first of all, yeah, for my gringo friends who are listening on English, if you didn't hear the start, we had a bet, and Jaime's bet was that people would submit questions that I would refuse to answer. And if I refuse to answer any of these, then I have to show up at our event in Mexico City this weekend, Cumbre Palooza, wearing a t-shirt for the Mexico football team and a wig. And if I answer them all, Jaime has to wear the USA jersey and a wig at some point. So this question I'm fine to answer it. I would never take money to switch company and never have, because it wouldn't duplicate. Because how could any of my people get the same result? So to me, that's kind of just a non-starter from a business standpoint. I wish I could tell you that I always have been pure as the driven snow and never did any activities that I regret, but that's not true. I think when I first started out, I was attacking all the other companies. I felt my company was the best one and everybody else was a scam and everybody else had crappy products or a crappy compensation plan. And I trashed everybody. And that was it's a terrible thing to do because it actually hurts you. I didn't know that at the time, but you know, if you're talking to someone about your company and you say, well, I'm in this industry and all these other companies are criminals and only mine is pure, it just makes the whole industry look terrible, right? So it's not very effective, but I didn't know that. So I was very negative in terms of what I was saying about other companies. And the thing I really regret the most was hyping up and exaggerating my income. Because you have situations where there's a special promotion and they're given extra PV for this product. And then you're having a major event and the company launches a new product. And so your team sells $200,000 worth of that new product in one day because everybody's buying the new product. So your bonus check goes up $22,000, right? So what happens is that month you make $44,000, let's say. And then what I did, which I'm ashamed of, is then I would say, yes, I built my check up to $44,000 a month. And the truth is I was making like half that amount. But I had made it once. And I still come across this in the profession, working with clients where that's what they do. They have everybody stand up at a meeting and say, hey, what is the biggest check you ever made with ABC company? And I'm beseeching them to stop doing that because it's just not necessary. It's so stupid. It's so deceitful. It's just not moral. And the truth is, when I was making $20,000 a month, and you know, I was talking about the 1 month I made $44,000, it was so stupid because do you know how many people would crawl naked over broken glass to make $20,000 a month? We have, come on, 3/4 of the people watching this right now are in Mexico. The rest are in Peru, Ecuador, Panama, Honduras. Come on, if you're making $1,000 US a month, you're killing it. You're one of the most successful people in your country. You're living like a prince. We don't need to do that hype. But yeah, if I'm going to, confess to something I'm ashamed of, that's it.
Bueno, la siguiente pregunta, en realidad,
right,
no nos la hicieron exactamente como la voy a plantear. Lo que pasa es que recibimos muchas preguntas parecidas y tratamos de convertir todas esas preguntas en una sola para que esté más gente representada. Entonces, la siguiente pregunta es, ¿Por qué hay tanta gente mintiendo y exagerando en redes de mercadeo?
Lying and hyping and
Si tú
overhyping
crees
in
que
network
ese es el
marketing?
lado más oscuro
And
de
do
lo
you
que
think that
hacemos,
is that the
o
darkest
hay
side of
algo
what we
más que
do?
sea más el
Or
dark
do you
side, el
think
lado
there is
oscuro
a
de las
darker
redes de mercadeo?
side of our network marketing industry?
Yeah, a couple of things jump out at me with that kind of group of questions. First, I don't think most people do that. There's a perception, because I get that kind of question sometimes. People say, why do 90% of the people in our business exaggerate and lie? Why does everybody in our business lie? I don't think that's the case at all. I think it's a much smaller amount. Still not right, but a much smaller amount. I do think it's a dark side of the business, but I don't think it's the darkest side of the business. I think there are some things worse, which we'll probably talk about, judging by some of the questions you tantalized people with. But I do think it is a really poor side of the business, and it's hurting our profession, and it's hurting the people who do it. And it's trained, unfortunately, there's other trainers and gurus who are training people to do that stuff and build the personal brand and do the hype and send out 15 social media posts a day. And they're exaggerating, they're hyping. And yes, they're a lot of times some of the time they're out and out lying. This is really why Jaime and I started duplicationnation.com. That's our generic site that we've created to kind of take the profession back from the con artists, from the criminals. And all of the people who ask those kind of questions, they need to know there's an event this weekend. This is our big annual event. We call it Cumbre Palooza. And it's happening in Mexico City, Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. It's too late to get in-person tickets because the event is sold out. But people were begging us to live stream it, so we put together the crew, and now we are offering a live stream of the event. So if somebody could please put the link for where people get live stream tickets in the chat, please, on the YouTube channels. Here's what I would say to all those people who ask that question. Please change your calendar, clear it, buy a ticket for the broadcast package of this event. It's very inexpensive. It's an investment that could pay for itself literally 10,000 times over, and maybe 10 times, 10,000 times over. Because what you will see at Cumbre Palooza is how to do the business without lying, how to do the business without deceit, how to do it with the building blocks, creating a viable pathway of a funnel of qualified candidates who want to talk to you about your business. And one of the things I can tell you, I stopped giving my income testimonials 12 or 15 years ago. Literally, for more than a decade, I have never talked about how much money I earn because it's not necessary, and the regulators hate it. If you're in a company and you do that stuff, you're creating a danger of your company getting shut down. And I didn't want to do that. You have to protect the golden goose. And I changed because, remember, I was back in the the hype days of network marketing, right? And all we talked about was big bonus checks, and we have pictures of bimbos in bikinis and Ferraris and Lamborghinis and stacks of cash on white sandy beaches. And it was just hype, hype, hype. And that isn't the market today. That's not the candidates you want to bring in. I mean, there are some of those, I call them the MLM dinosaurs. They're still out there doing the same thing like they did in the 70s and the 80s, but they're not effective. They're not relevant. There's still trainers teaching that shit, but it's not real. It's not relevant. It doesn't really work. My team for years, our kind of theme is we want to help you get debt free as soon as possible. We want you to pay off all your credit cards. We want you to pay cash for your car. We want you to pay off your mortgage. And we're talking about quality of life issues. The social entrepreneurship. This is the biggest thing that I'm talking about these days, social entrepreneurship. The later millennial generations. People talk about the Zillennials, right? Because the Generation Z, but it's not just the Generation Z, it's the later millennial generations. They're the people driving the business right now. And they don't respond to that crap. They don't respond to that hype. And you say, hey, you could get a Lamborghini and a Ferrari. And they say, that's bad for the planet. I don't want a sports car. I have a membership to my solar powered scooter with, whatever company, Bird and those companies. And it's not good for the planet. Some of them don't want to own houses. They're like, I think that's bad for the environment. Everybody can't have a house. We have to share community spaces, right? They have a really refreshing and a really different perspective of the world. I love their attitude. I love their excitement. And I love their passion about social entrepreneurship. And so I've been really successful attracting those people. Jaime, I know you've been really successful attracting those people. The client companies we work with are doing a really good job in that area because we're helping them with their messaging. And they don't. And by the way, at this Cumbre event this weekend, there's a leadership session for 3 hours where we're going to do a case studies of actual videos, mass market recruiting tools, PowerPoint slides, flip charts, and show how we're doing the messaging, what's working effectively. And you're going to see it's not a bunch of Lambos and Ferraris. It's the stuff about quality of life. And the other thing, and this is really important, and I'm taking a long time with this answer because I know from Andrea telling me that there was like 25 people who asked different kind of versions of this question. The other part of the scenario is just that when you tell people, oh, by the way, this is work. By the way, you're not going to be a millionaire in 90 days. You need to make a commitment of 10 to 12 hours a week minimum. You can't do the business effectively in 2 hours a week. Even though somebody's trying to sell you some $27 ebook on how you can only work 3 hours a week, I'm sorry, people, that's bullshit. Even though you could recruit a number of people in 3 hours a week, you're not able to support them and train them. And so they're never going to be able to duplicate. It's a minimum of 10 hours a week. So when you're honest with people and you say, I want your commitment for 1 year, don't look left, don't look right. Give me at least 10 hours a week for a year and then evaluate the business. And hey, you know what? You're going to face some dropouts. You're going to face some no-shows. You're going to get some rejection. But do it because it's worth it. That's the complete opposite of the way other people are doing that. And that's why I think this is so much more effective, because it brings you in the people who want to work, who are willing to work. So again, like same with the earlier one, anybody who asks this question, make sure any of these type of questions, get registered, cumbrepalooza.com or whatever the site is, and watch the live stream, because you'll see real world proven ways to build the business without the lying and the deceit. And you'll see a bunch of really successful faculty people on stage, because it's not just Jaime and I, this is an all-star cast of amazing people. And they do the business the right way. And you'll see you don't need those other kind of manipulative, negative techniques.
Muy bien, pues seguimos avanzando con estas preguntas. La pregunta que sigue, yo creo que es la que más le va a servir al 90% de la gente que está escuchando esto, la que más les va a ayudar a mejorar sus resultados. Y posteriormente vamos a preguntarle cosas más intensas. También vamos a preguntarle acerca de su relación familiar y el apoyo que tiene de su familia en su negocio. Vamos a preguntarle preguntas personales acerca de relaciones sentimentales. Vamos a preguntarle acerca de cosas que ha dicho que quizás ya veremos ahora no han envejecido de forma correcta, comentarios que quizás se arrepienta de ellos o no, ya tendrá la oportunidad de reforzarlos. Así es que esto todavía se va a poner muy sabroso, pero antes quiero nada más reforzar un poco lo que les contó Randy acerca de Cumbrepalooza. Este sábado y domingo vamos a tener el evento, lo puedes disfrutar desde la comodidad de tu casa en streaming. Los lugares presenciales ya se llenaron, ya no puede venir la gente de forma presencial, pero aún puedes acompañarnos de forma virtual y vas a tener entrenamiento del más alto nivel de pura gente
virtually. You're going to be having training sessions from people with the highest level, the people with the highest rank in the company, the people that are helping other people to grow the business. We're going to have some training, for example, Mario Rodriguez Padres, the author of The Red Tree of the Network Marketing, one of the most influential books in the industry, which talks about how to create a real, actual productive sales circle in where everyone in your team can sell much more volume. Imagine if anyone in your team sells double or triple, right? I mean, how your check, the same amount of people could grow twice or three times. Rafael Rojas, he has been for many months the Latino that has been making the most amount of money in the world. Angie Lu is going to be here, the highest rank of her company around the world. The Hispanic world, you know them, Angie and Lu, two of the most important experts in social, how to be successful in social media. They're going to teach you how to recruit people every month through social media and how to have unlimited leads. And I'm not gonna give you details one by one. You're gonna see on unapalooza.com all the speakers that we're gonna be having. And all of them have this in common. They are the most successful in the companies. They are people who have helped thousands of people to be successful and that are gonna be sharing their best tools or secrets. Things that probably you are not gonna be able to learn, but here.
Yo personalmente te voy a enseñar cómo tener recursos ilimitados. ¿Cuántas veces no te ha pasado que dices, ay, tengo una muy buena idea, pero no tengo el dinero para hacerla, no tengo el tiempo para hacerlo, o no tengo los contactos para hacerlo? Un gran líder necesita tener recursos y te voy a enseñar una fórmula muy práctica, muy simple para tener recursos ilimitados, porque si no tienes recursos, es como decir, híjoles, tengo una gran receta para hacer un pastel de chocolate, pero no tengo los ingredientes. Pues bueno, ahora te vamos a enseñar cómo conseguir ingredientes ilimitados. Eso es lo que yo personalmente te voy a hablar en una de mis sesiones, porque tengo más de una. Así es que bueno, no te lo vas a querer perder. La realidad es que para gente de habla hispana,
As a matter of fact, for the Spanish-speaking people, those that are conducting their business and taking the business seriously are in Cumbrepalusa, and those who aren't, well, nice to meet you. Hopefully one day you want to do it seriously. All right, let's move on and let's ask this question for the 90% of the people that are actually listening to us, which is, Randy, if you lose all of your money, all of your contacts, everything you have, and you need to start all over again, what will you do to reach the top once again?
Okay, I love this question. So you're gonna think this is a commercial, but it's not. What I would do first, I would get a copy of this book and I would follow it exactly. And why I say this isn't really a commercial, I mean, I wrote that book on how exactly I built a team of more than 200,000 people the right way with the building block stuff. And it's first about learning the skill sets, how to meet people, how to make compelling invitations, how to use tools for presentations, how to do things in a way that duplicate. So I would, that's a step-by-step guide. I would do what I actually did when this came up. I didn't lose everything, right? But I was out of the business for 7 years because my company had gone out of business. And that's when I was consulting and training. And then I thought, I'm the shoemaker with no shoes. I'm helping all these people get residual income, but I don't have residual income. So I went to an English speaking event, the equivalent of Cumbrepalusa that Art Jonak puts on. And I went to that event with the idea, I know there's going to be like 80 or 100 different companies there. And I'm going to go there and network and talk to people. And I'm going to find a company to build again and start over from scratch. And I couldn't contact any of my clients. So I have to do it from the beginning, but with people who are probably not even in network marketing. And so what I would do today, if I was doing that, I would do, and people are going to laugh at this. People are going to say this is crazy, but this is exactly what I would do. I would have the biggest home meeting that has ever been held in the history of network marketing. I contact every single person I know in Miami and Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach and everywhere. And I would tell them, you have to be here. You have to drive here on Tuesday night. Then I would start texting and WhatsApp and email my friends in Texas and Wisconsin and California and New York and Germany and Malaysia and South Africa and everywhere in the world that my whatever new company that I was joining, every country they operated, anyone I would know there, I'd say, you have to get on a train, get on a plane, do whatever you have to do, but I'm going back in the game and I'm going to create the biggest comeback story in the history of network marketing. And I want you to be part of my my comeback story and sell it as that, hey, you, and that's how I would start the meeting. Everybody knows I lost everything. I'm out of money. I have no business, whatever, but I still have my dream and I still have my skills. I know how to do this business and I'm looking for people who want to be on my team because we're going to conquer the world. And that's what I would do.
Es muy bueno.
That is great.
Como paréntesis,
That is great.
Si
and
se fijan,
just as
lo poderoso es
something that
la
I want to
forma
say,
de presentarlo, la historia que está
look how
detrás. El
powerful
decirle
it
a la
is.
gente,
You know, the powerful thing is how
voy a
you're
hacer la
presenting
historia
it.
más grande,
You know, telling the people, okay, I'm
contigo o
going to
sin
give you
ti.
the,
Y eso es algo que cualquiera
I'm
puede
going to
hacer. No
create the
necesitas
largest or the biggest comeback
ser
story
Randy
with or
para poder
without you,
decirle eso a
right?
tu
I mean,
gente.
you don't need
Randy,
to
siguiente
close it.
pregunta.
Anyways, Randy,
Queremos
next
saber
question.
si
We
tu
want to know
familia
if your
siempre te
family has
apoyó en lo
always
que estás
supported you
haciendo,
in what you're
y en caso
doing.
que no,
And if
¿qué
not,
hiciste para
what you did
sobreponerte al
to
rechazo de tu gente
overcome
querida?
the rejection of your loved ones?
I think this is going to shock some people. The answer is no. My family never supported my business, ever. To this day, I do not have one single person in my family who's in my team. It's, in English, we call it the hometown prophet syndrome. I didn't know early on I should use external sources and a sponsorship line. I tried to do all the presentations myself. And they just knew me as the old Randy, the guy who was in jail at 15 years old, the guy who was a drug addict and an alcoholic as a teenager, the guy who had failed in business. So no one in my family would touch it. A lot of people have heard the story of my first meeting. 17 people promised to come and nobody showed up. But I used that for fuel. I planted my flag. And what I told myself is, I am the most ambitious person I know. And that's the flag I'm going to plant. And I'm not going to give up. And of course, the other thing is, I didn't buy into the myth that other people were happy. When I look around at people in the world today, I say most of them are ignorant, sick, and broke. How many people do you know who really are healthy, happy, and prosperous? So I didn't buy the myth that the corporate world, that if you got a job for a big company, you'd be successful. I didn't buy that most people are happy. I think most people are living lives of quiet desperation. I think there's a lot of employees. I see studies all the time that say 80, 75%, 80% of people don't like what they do or they actually hate it. And I wanted to do something I loved to do. And that's what got me through.
Beautiful. Le vamos a preguntar a Randy Gage en este momento cómo saber que una empresa de criptomonedas en multinivel
multi-level
estafa.
company
Y antes de que responda, este es el momento en el que quieres que todo tu equipo esté aquí, porque tu equipo va a aprender cómo blindarse de las empresas que quieren estafarlos y que van a terminar también dañando a tu organización. Así es que compártelo, manda a todos tus grupos de WhatsApp este link.
Share this
Randy
link to
Gage,
everyone in WhatsApp.
¿cómo
Randy Gage,
sabemos
how do we know
cuando una empresa
when
de
a
cripto
cryptocurrency company is a scam?
Okay, so if the question is, how do we know that an MLM crypto company is a scam? The answer is easy. They all are. Because there is no such thing as a legal MLM cryptocurrency company, just like there's no such thing as a legal MLM US dollar company or MLM euro company or MLM Japanese yen company. The product is not a viable product to create a multi-level compensation plan around. How would that work? If you say, hey, I've got an MLM company with the US dollar and everybody knows the US dollar, this is solid, right? So I have this $20 bill and I will sell it to you for only $22. And you'd say, why would I pay $22 for a $20 bill? And you say, because it might go up to be worth $50 or $100. No, it's illegal. It's a Ponzi scheme. The same way, and because you'll have other people tell you, well, no, we're not actually selling a cryptocurrency or a token. We're selling the exchange of those cryptocurrencies or the exchange of those tokens. That's called foreign exchange, Forex, we call it, right? Well, to do Forex, you have to be a registered broker. Your company has to be licensed for that. None of these MLM crypto Forex deals have done that. Every single person who's doing them is operating illegally. So if somebody comes to you with an MLM crypto deal, they're either an idiot, a criminal, or both.
Ok, bueno.
All right.
Faltan 5 preguntas más. Le vamos a preguntar acerca de su vida amorosa.
Missing. We're going to ask him about his love life. We're going to ask him about
su opinión acerca de otras personas.
Other people. We're going to ask him about AI. We're going to ask
5 preguntas más.
So,
vamos
5
a ver si logramos que en alguna no quiera contestar o que la respuesta
doesn't want to answer one
nos
of them,
deje
or maybe
inconclusos, que pensemos que no nos está diciendo la verdad.
Recuerda
compartirlo con todo tu equipo, mándaselo a todo mundo, por
remember
favor.
sharing this with your team, send this to everyone. Let's go to the next question. We are in number
Randy,
10, and it is like this.
Tú dijiste
Randy,
que el multinivel ha
you
muerto.
told us that multi-level companies have died. Why you're here? Why you're still here?
Yes. So for people who don't know, I wrote a manifesto in the year 2000. And I said, MLM is dead. But I think the people who ask that question probably haven't read the manifesto, because what I said is the con artists and the Ponzi schemes are taking this over. The public perception of MLM is terrible, and we need to bury it. We need to just put a wreath on the coffin and move forward. And I call the business leveraged sales, because I believe that encapsulates the true essence of what it's about. The most powerful part of our business is the fact that we get to create leverage. That's how you escape trading hours for money. So leverage and sales, meaning, hey, products actually have to get to the end consumer. That's the only way we make bonus checks. So that's the difference. Again, like those MLM crypto scams, there's no real product getting to a real customer. So I wrote that manifesto to alert, to call out the bad people, and to alert the people that want to do it right, to come together and save the profession. And that manifesto had a cataclysmic effect on our profession. It was translated into like 30 different languages, millions of downloads in all these different languages all over the world, still being downloaded today. And that's why, again, I'll go back to duplicationnation.com. I'll go back to the event this weekend, Cumbre Palooza, that Jaime and I are doing with the other faculty. We're showing people, hey, we don't have to let the criminals win. We're going to take the profession back, and we're going to show people how to do it the right way. And so that's why I'm still here. I'm a guy who was, I'm a high school dropout. Nobody was recruiting me. Nobody was offering me jobs. And I became, and this is the only business in the world that I believe I could have created this kind of wealth with no education, no experience, no money. So I think this is one of the most empowering business models in the world. And that's why I'm an evangelical proponent of it.
Muy bien. Bueno.
Thank you. All right.
Las siguientes dos preguntas
the next couple
entran
of
en la
questions
categoría de
are
aquellas
in
que
the
yo no me
categories
hubiera
that I
atrevido
would
a
never
preguntar,
have
y por
dared
eso las voy a
to
leer
ask you. So that's why
tal
I'm going
cual
to read
como se
them as it
mandaron,
is,
para
as
que
they were,
quede muy clarita
formulated.
la
So
pregunta
the question is
que
very
hizo la
clear that
comunidad
this person, this
para Randy
community
Gage,
asked
y
for
así el día
Randy
de mañana
Gage.
que me quiera dejar de
And
hablar,
tomorrow, if he
puedo
wants
enseñarle que estoy
to stop
leyendo una
talking to
pregunta de la
me,
comunidad.
I can show him that I was reading a question from
Bueno,
the community,
Randy.
right? All right, Randy.
¿Por qué nunca
Why
hablas acerca
you
de tu
never
vida
talk about
personal?
your personal
¿Realmente
life?
eres gay?
Are you
¿Tienes
actually
alguna
gay?
pareja
Do you have a
amorosa,
partner?
esposa,
Do you have a
novia,
wife,
novio, amigo
boyfriend,
con
girlfriend,
beneficios? ¿Cuál es tu
friends with
situación
benefits? What is
sentimental?
your love situation?
Okay, I think
This is when you say I give up?
I'm not giving up. You better get your wig ready and your jersey ready. I think there's three parts of this, because the first part was, why do I never talk about my personal life? First reason, part number one, is the people I care about. I'm worried for their safety. I'm a successful public figure. And so my siblings, my family, my friends, they get approached by people who want to get access to me. And some of them are like, my poor sister has, like, she got creeped out with people sending her notes on Facebook, and she's very private. So I worry about that. There are people who, would pay $10,000 for my private email or my cell phone number, right? And they go to my friends to try to get this stuff. Two, I have to worry about my own security and privacy. I'm a very introverted, private person to begin with. And I have had literally 7 stalkers. And by stalkers, I mean people who have come to my home, people who have demanded entry. They go to the security and say they're my wife and they should be let into my apartment while I'm traveling, doing a seminar somewhere. People who have showed up at my door with suitcases packed, ready to move in because they followed me on Twitter and they think that literally they thought I was sending them messages through the ethers and that I was spying on them and sending them secret messages in their computer. So, I value my privacy and of course my security. So I'm not a public person by nature anyway. The third part of the question is my sexuality. I guess I identify as gay solidly at this moment in time. I would say I'm pretty sexually fluid over the course of my life. I have been in many relationships I have been married and in relationships with women, and with the last person I dated pretty regularly would be considered a trans person, kind of, in the middle. So but I do principally, I would say, I'm a gay man who's attracted to other gay men.
Bueno, si ya pasamos de esa, creo que voy a perder. Voy a ir comprando mi
if you already answered that,
Unidos,
I guess
bueno,
I've lost. I'm going to buy my jersey, the U.S. jersey. So yeah, next question. We're going to be reading it as it was sent. Randy, do you believe that Eric Worre is destroying the profession?
Well, actually, you would have a better chance of winning the bet with this question than the last question. Where do I go with this?
You can forfeit. You can say that you don't answer it.
You almost won the jersey challenge, but you won't. Why? I don't know where to go with this. I had a 10-year run of mostly great times working together with Eric. And I have tremendous love and affection for his family, his children. His first wife, Lisa, is amazing. His current wife, Marina, people don't know. Here's a little fun fact. People don't know. She was actually a leader in my team. And he, back when he used to still build in the field, how do I say this diplomatically? He had a tendency to create romantic liaisons with many of the women in the team in many different lines. And that was one of them so I lost a leader, somebody on my team, because she married him and then became part of his team, of course. So that's a little fun fact people probably don't know. And she's a wonderful lady who, so I have great affection for those, for them. I mean, I'm really worried for him, like where this is going to end up for him. I think he's in my opinion, very perilous situation because of him being the front man for some really sketchy deals. I don't ever count other people's money, right? So I don't know why people make the choices they make. And I don't count their money. It's really easy to look from the outside and say, but like I had a friend who called me up and said, hey, Randy, I got a call from this company in Europe and they want me to speak at their event and do the keynote. But, I'm kind of worried about it. And I said, are you kidding me? That's not a company. That is a Ponzi scheme. It was like a gifting program. And I'm like, there's no like iffy matter. This is out and out, blatantly illegal thing. So if you want my advice, don't do it. But he did it because they paid him $10,000 to do the speech and he really needed the $10,000. So he took the speech. And so I'm not going to count his money for him, right? That's my friend I'm talking about. With Eric, I don't know where he's at in that case, why he would take those kind of deals, and I can't count his money, so I can't speak for him. I just do feel like, somebody sent me his video because, he got obviously some really upset people, some really bad publicity, and he did a video and, hey, for everybody asking, I worked with Amway and Bodywise and Cernitine and New Skin and Old Skin and Moist Skin and Dry Skin and Manatech and Bananatech and listed, every company in the profession that I work with them. And so I don't know, I don't vet them. I think you can say that if you're doing a keynote for somebody, you don't know, they hire you, you show up, you speak for 45 minutes, you leave. But when you become a spokesperson for that company and promote them and be the face of them and they're using you for their recruiting, there's consequences for that. And these MLM crypto deals, they're infested with criminals, with narco traffickers. Some of them have even been on stage at that event in Las Vegas. So do I think he's destroyed? The question was, do I think he's destroying the profession? No, I don't think he's destroying the profession. He does like some basic training on how to meet people or how to do invitations. And I think there's beginners and they don't know anything like that and they need that kind of training and that helps them. Where I think he gets into trouble is training leaders because I get so many calls from top leaders or companies and say, God, they go to his group, his mastermind, and they don't ever build the business anymore. They're all about building their own brand. it's all about them on social media and getting speeches and writing books and being an influencer, and they forgot how to do the business. Which is, as you guys heard earlier, I feel like that's one of the big mistakes that I made when I first started making money, making it all about me and not about the team. So that, but again, that's not destroying the profession. There's lots of trainers who are teaching stuff that isn't effective, right? There's nothing criminal about that. But what's happening in the MLM crypto scams right now, people are getting hurt. People are losing their kids' college fund. They're investing their whole life savings. People are losing their house. People have been kidnapped. People have been tortured. It's horrendous things happening in that space. And I don't think anybody credible should have anything to do with any of those sketchy deals. So I don't think he's destroying the profession, but I think he might have set it back 15 or 20 years because it's going to take us a long time for the legitimate companies to regain some of the reputation we had before these MLM crypto deals started going crazy. I guess that's how I would answer it.
I won't comment. Yo no tengo ningún comentario al respecto.
No comments about it.
Le tengo mucho aprecio a todos los involucrados.
Pero
gracias por atreverte a contestar. Y
keep regards to all of the people involved there. Thank you very much for putting me in this problem, in this problem to whoever asked this question.
Randy Gage.
Thank you. Well, Randy Gage.
¿Alguna vez has estado
Have you ever
en el otro lado,
been
el lado de
in the other side,
el fracaso en redes de mercadeo,
in the side of failure in LML, in the side of being discouraged, in the side where not everything goes the right way? And if so, what have you done to actually step out of that side?
Yeah, so spoiler alert, people already know I didn't get anyone in my family. I faced, and I would say still, the hardest presentation I ever gave was to my sister. And for people who don't know, I struggled for the first 5 years in the business, losing money, just going to events and buying tools and buying tickets to events and, struggling. But like I said, with the secret meeting, I kind of planted that flag that I was the most ambitious person I knew. And again, I didn't buy into the myth that people doing the other way, the corporate way, the traditional way, I didn't buy into the myth that they were really happy. But I think most important for me that saved me was network marketing introduced me to self-development. And I started doing daily self-development every morning. And when you do that, then you can conquer the rejection. Then you can conquer the negativity. Then you can keep your eye on your dreams and your goals.
Beautiful. Última pregunta.
Last question.
Randy Gage. ¿Cómo va a afectarle la inteligencia artificial?
How is artificial intelligence, AI, affecting
nos va a
network marketing? Is it going to help us or is it going to destroy us?
First, it's going to hurt us, and later it's going to help us. Right now, I think it's hurting us. You have people who are infatuated with the buzzwords. And then you have these parasites, the gurus and the consultants and the authors who want to make money selling to your team. And they're selling their $50 ebooks on ChatGPT or their $500 courses on artificial intelligence. And it's killing the profession in the short term, because remember, anything that's leading edge is bad for our business. If you're a Silicon Valley tech startup, you want to be bleeding edge. If you're a network marketing company, you want to be dull edge. Why? Because of the formula. How does duplication work? We get a large group of people to do a few simple things, actions, over a sustained period of time. That doesn't work with the latest cutting edge technology because the average person can't do it. It's not a simple action. We have to always go back to the formula. Now, what's happening is, and of course, this is why I say most of the advice you get is bad. Like right now, if you want to spend money on tech stuff and you want to buy these courses, they're going to tell you how to get more followers on Instagram, or how to get more people to join your Facebook group. Those are great strategies for 2021. They're terrible strategies for 2024 because social media is changing. I would call it this is, I don't know, Edmundo, I don't know how you're going to handle this. I would call it the TikTokification of social media. Because TikTok is an extremely different animal than Twitter, now X, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, anything came before. Because it's not about followers. It's about viral trends. So in the old days, you'd want to build up and get as many followers on Instagram as you can. So when you made your post, they would see your post. TikTok doesn't work that way. TikTok, if you just create a video and you have 11 followers, but you make the right post, it's just some cute little dance thing you do, or it's some cute little trending topic, and 3 of your 11 people liked it. One of them shared and 2 of them liked it, or vice versa. The algorithm might pick that up and send it to 400 more people. And if 30 of those 400 people like it, they might send it to 25 million people or 50 million people. And you could have somebody, and you do literally every day, there's somebody with less than 100 followers who makes a post that gets 5 views. Because it isn't about the followers, it's about the viral algorithms. So what'll happen, that's why I say short term, it's hurting us. Long term, it's going to help us. Because that's going to mean 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when you say, oh, my company has this new product and it's made with beet juice. And do you know the benefits of beet juice for circulation? And if it's the right topic, you could have a thing that goes viral, right? So I think and there'll be a place for that. It's still, you could use it for making better trainings. We all have to be marketers, right? You can't just say, we're having a convention and here's the topics, right? If you went to Chat GPT and said, I've got a 90-minute training on how to meet candidates. Can you help me, give me 10 sexy titles that I could use for that session? That would, right? There's things like that we can do. But again, it got to be the form. We always got to go back to the formula. The other thing, one of the people that I admire most from the business standpoint, 2 people very similar in this regard. I would say Warren Buffett, the legendary investor, and Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. They both have a similar philosophy in this area, which is they say, okay, instead of trying to predict the future, which is a fool's errand, instead of trying to predict where something is going to be 5 years from now, which nobody knows for sure, why don't I predict what will remain the same 5 years from now? What will never change 5 years from now? Now, if we want to apply this to network marketing, you know what I think will never change 5 years from now? Getting a recommendation for a product or an opportunity by somebody you love and trust. I think 5 years from now, and I think it'll be even worth more, because of course, 5 years from now, we're going to have all these deep fake videos, which are already available today. So nobody's going to trust any advertising, any banners, any videos, any audios. You know who they're going to trust? People they love and know. I think that won't change. Personal concierge type attention that we give people when they become our preferred customers. That's not going to change in 5 years. Do employees want to fire their boss and be their own boss? Yeah. Will 5 years from now, employees want to fire their boss and be their own boss? Yeah, I think they will. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, will there be products that don't sell well if they're just sitting on a shelf in the supermarket or sitting on a shelf in the health food store, or their thumbnail description on a Amazon, Alibaba, eBay site, but they sell really well because they need conversational marketing. If you look at the history of our profession, how many incredible, like in the nutritional space and the wellness space, how many products we brought to market that would never have sold in a health food store or a supermarket, because they need that conversational marketing. I say, hey, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that's still going to be the same. And you know what's going to be the same 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Social entrepreneurship. Young people who need to make a living, they need to provide for their future, and they don't want to do it in the corporate world, and they don't want to do it in a job they hate. They want to do it in a way that they believe makes the world a better place. So that's my rant on AI in our business. Let's stop going crazy on what we think it's going to be like 5 years from now, and let's follow Warren Buffett and Jeff Bezos and say, hey, what's going to be the same 5 years from now? And how can I use that to grow my business?
¿Y saben qué más no va a cambiar?
And you know
La otra
what's not
cosa
going
que
to
no va a
change?
cambiar es
The other
que
thing that is
yo
not going to change
voy a
is that
seguirme metiendo en
me,
apuestas
myself,
que
I'm
no
going
puedo
to
ganar
keep
para
on
poder conseguirte a
doing
ti
bets that
el
I cannot
mejor
win, so I
contenido,
can get you
entrevistas
the best
exclusivas
content
y cosas
and
que
exclusive
en
information
ningún
and things
otro
that you
lado.
cannot
Randy
find
Gage,
anywhere else.
I'm
Randy
very glad I
Gage,
lost. Estoy muy feliz de haber perdido esta apuesta contigo.
I'm very glad I lost this bet with you.
Ya iré a comprar mi
I'm
playera
gonna
de
go
Estados
and
Unidos
purchase
y mi
my
peluca.
US team jersey and a
¿Algún
wig.
pensamiento final, algunas
Do you have
palabras
some final
finales
thoughts, something that
para
you want
esta
to share with
comunidad
us
que
for this
tanto te extraña
community
en redes
that
sociales?
misses you so much in social media?
Yeah, you don't have to purchase a jersey for Team USA. I am bringing you one, and it's in my suitcase. But you will need to get your own wig. For you guys listening, I can't convey enough. At least all you Spanish-speaking people, get your ticket to the live stream, cumbrepalooza.com. There's never been an event like what we have scheduled for this weekend. And if you believe in the things we talked about, I'm so grateful for everybody who submitted these questions. I'm blown away by the quality of them and by the curiosity of them. And I really, as you see, I opened my heart and I told you my truth as I know it, even when it's uncomfortable and doesn't make me look good. I want you to know the truth, because Jaime and I are both really committed to that, to taking this profession back from these grifters and these con artists, these MLM crypto scams, and working with the people who really have a dream and want to do it. So I looking forward to everybody who's going to be there in person in Ciudad de Mexico. And I'm really eager to see everyone else join us on the live stream. So thanks, everybody. Peace and love.
Gracias, Randy Gage. Gracias a todos por la bendición de su presencia. Gracias a todos los que mandaron las preguntas. La verdad es que hay muchas que no se me hubieran ocurrido y muchas otras que se me hubieran ocurrido, pero no me hubiera atrevido a hacer. Así es que gracias a las cientos de personas que participaron y gracias a las miles de personas que están aquí acompañándonos en esta sesión. Les mando un muy fuerte abrazo. Yo sé que la gran mayoría de la gente que está acá ya tiene su boleto para Cumbre Palooza, ya sea presencial o virtual, porque yo sé que toda la gente que hace su negocio en serio está año con año ahí aprendiendo de los mejores. Si tú por algún motivo aún no lo tienes, por favor, cumbrepalooza.com, cumbrepalooza, palooza con doble O, cumbrepalooza.com. Ahí consigues tu entrada para vernos de forma virtual. Los boletos presenciales se han terminado, pero nos dará mucho gusto verte igual en la sala de Zoom, en esta transmisión maravillosa que hacemos a todos los rincones del planeta. Les mando un muy fuerte abrazo a todos. Yo soy Jaime Loquier, un orgulloso ciudadano de la nación Duplicación. Abrazo fuerte.